I'll start the class. Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Shruti-Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankara Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes. Would you like to chant, Neetaji?
Sure, Diptiji. From which verse?
5th to 9th.
5th to 9th, sure. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Chaturthodhyayaha Shri Bhagavan Bahuni me vyatitani Janmani tava charjuna Tanyahau Veda Sarvani Natvam Veda Parantapa Ajopi Sanna Vyavyatma Bhutanamishwaropi San Prakritim Swamadhishtaya Sambhavam Yatma Mayaya Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanirбhavati Bharata Abhyutthanamadarmasya Tadatmanam Srijamyaham Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam Dharma Samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Evayyo Veti Tattvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sorjuna Vitaraghavaya Krodhaha Manmaya Upashritaha Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Bhuta Madbhava Magataha.
Yes. Good. Thank you. So we are seeing chapter 4, though we have covered up to 9th verse. But in this portion comes the knowledge of Avatara Rahasya. So it seems that this is a chance for us to gain as much clarity, as much information, as much knowledge as is possible within our limitations. It'll be better next time, every time, because it's an ongoing reflection. So, as long as the topic of Ishwar, which is the base of Karam Yoga, I don't know about everyone, but I can say about myself, this has kept, for years, kept me wondering, wanting to know comprehensively, what is Ishwar? Whom do you call Ishwar? Why is it necessary? What is the place, sthan? Is Ishwar real? Is Ishwar mandatory? Can you not live without it? What will you miss if you live without it? A lot of questions for many years. I'm not talking of a few. It's a background query throughout. And I have sought lot of many, not lot. I have sought wise people, knowers, acharyas, and heard them. What is the explanation offered for some very pivotal points of Shastra? Ishvara is one of them. There are schools of thought within our Shaddarshanas very clearly who reject Ishvara, like Purva Mimamsakas. For Purva Mimamsakas, this is amongst Astik Darshanas. Nastik anyway do not accept Vedas, so they are not in the context of our examination, of our discussion. They're out of our context. Amongst the Astik schools who accept Vedas as a praman for moksha, for higher, for shanti, for abhyudayam, because as Shastra keeps reminding us, Vedas is a praman for yoga and shema, for abhyudayam, prosperity, for peace and prosperity. Means whatever your desires are, to fulfill them is also Vedic way. And if you want to grow out of them and you want to grow into a more refined and a mature person, and ultimately towards your own source of who you are, also Veda shows the way. So, amongst the Astic schools, like Purva Mimamsakas, they do not accept Ishwar at all. They say we don't need it. Why? If you say Ishwar is the source of creation, then creation is sustained by karmas itself. We have said, we accept that we get a birth, human life, birth, pranika, gets a birth because of the karma phal. So it is the karma phal itself which keeps generating the creation. So you don't need a creator and you do not need Ishvara to regulate the phal. So, in other words, Ishvara is a non essential inclusion. Vedas talk about how to do your karmas and they give us that knowledge. If you do your karmas properly, then as Vedas ordain, then within that niyam of karma itself, law of karma itself, everything's included. Good, that's right. But we do not, as Vedantins, as Vedanta students, Advaita Vedanta students who try to follow the Advaita Parampara. To us, Ishvara is included, is a part of Adhyanam, is a part of your knowledge, is a part of creation. Definitely, we accept that it is Shastra Kalpitam, it is Shastra Adhyaropitam, means it is taught by Shastram as an imposition. And being in imposition, the purpose of any Adhyaropanam is to help us do apavad of it, negation of it, when the purpose of Adhyarop has got served. So, Adhyarop is a part of inclusion to serve a purpose, to help come to a particular stand in one's understanding and growth, one's own growth. Once one has grown into that understanding, there is a self growth of perception. Thereafterwards, when you know, automatically you yourself will, means in the knowledge itself, Ishvara gets resolved. Negated means it resolves. Where Jivatvam resolves, Ishwaratvam also resolves. Ishwar will not be left as a third real entity other than you, Brahman. Ishvara will not be an other category which will be left as real. Once you know who you are, once you know that Brahman alone, Ekameva Advitiyam, then in that understanding and anchoring and owning up of your nature, Ishwaratvam resolves. But Apavad happens only when the purpose of Ishwar has been fulfilled. According to Vedas, Ishvara serves us two purposes. What is it? One is just karmas and rituals. When we are a complete jada buddhi, coming from Janma Janmantar Yoni, we are holding all kinds of impulses in ourselves, which generally today we would say animalistic impulses. Sukha Prapti, Dukha Nivritti are the fundamentals that Vedas would call us. Every prani has that basic impulse in them. With that impulse being a force in itself, Vichara Shakti is not available fully, not developed fully. Also, according to each stage of one's life, Vichara Shakti emerges out of a lot of, not lot, out of Vairagyam. Means there has to be Vichar to bring Vichar. Vichar brings Vairagyam and Vairagyam brings Vichar. So Vichar increases Vichar. How? Through Vairagyam. Vichar helps in Vairagyam. Vairagyam further clears Buddhi more. It makes more refined Buddhi, and that Buddhi again becomes available for a little more subtle processing of inquiry. It's just like saying when I have to dig a ground, till a ground, I have to first start at the superficial level. When I have only dug the superficial uh, soil out, can I go on going deeper and deeper? Without doing the superficial digging, I cannot expect myself to reach at the deeper point of the soil where I wish to. Supposing I'm transplanting a mango tree from one compound to another compound, to dig it out from the root itself and then transplant it, I need a big pit to transplant it back to another place. And for that transplantation, the process will be I start from the superficial layer of digging out the soil till I arrive at the depth at which I want the plant, the tree to be transplanted. In the same way, Vedas say that we, starting off, everyone, we have Shudra Buddhi. Shudra Buddhi means we are inert, our Buddhi is Jad. Jad means there is not much thinking beyond our primary impulses of Sukha Prapti, and it only works within that periphery. It parameter. It works within that parameter. It works very well within that parameter. In fact, it is very grounded in that parameter. It is almost instinctive knowledge that I proceed towards what gives me sukh and I avoid what gives me dukh. I don't need to sit and do vichar on it. It's almost spinal, it's reflexive. That much adaptation we have over those basic impulses. Therefore, to make this jada buddhi, which is also called prakrita swabhav, bound by prakriti, bound by the gunas that are already found in your upadhi with which you have come, those gunas, as we saw before, they themselves are the ones that push push us into action. So you don't need much vichar. Where our gunas take us, we automatically gravitate towards it. Homework, which verse is it later? And you can refer to it. Where he said, gunas itself takes us to respective fields of action, and we don't need much purusharth for it.
Gunaguneshu vartante. That one?
There's another one also, other than that also. That is of a jnani. Guna Guneshu is of a jnani. This is telling us how gunas itself lead us to their respective objects. So, what was I saying?
Prakriti Swabhava, which is based on the
So,
gunas.
right. So the Prakriti Swabhav, which is actually nothing but gunas, since it takes us on its own to our respective fields, we don't need much thinking. For such adhikaris, we call them adhikaris anyway because everybody has to mature. So, for such adhikaris, karma is the means to purify themselves of these impulsive bondages. I'm calling them bondage because they restrict our capacity to do and to learn and ultimately to free ourselves from them. We operate only within those set of gunas with which we have identified. So, as a result of which, the freedom to do anything else, change something in us, is very little. For whom? For a प्राकृत स्वभाव. वो अपने गुणों के हिसाब से ही जीता है, वो अपने स्वभाव को जल्दी से बदल नहीं सकता. For such people, Vedas show the path of karma through karma kant and all the huge, it's the largest part of Vedas. It gives all nitya, naimittika, nishiddha karmas to be done, which we've seen now in third chapter, brought down, simplified as Panchamahayajnas, etc. That karmas to be done in the Vaidika time were all yajnas. Yajnas means there were physical rituals and offerings were made to respective deities, and those deities returned back the anugraha by fulfilling your desires. And if you did it with nishkam bhav, then you got chitta shuddhi. You earned certain anugraha, you earned certain adrishtam, and that adrishtam accumulates and puts you in an environment where you're born amongst gyanis or amongst at least seekers or amongst at least those, and that gati keeps. That's how jiva takes gati, upward or lower, whichever way. There is no stationary. If you are stagnant, um, anyway, let's leave that. So there is higher or lower. The gati keeps moving accordingly. Karma becomes one important part. Later on, the karmas, the devatas were who's giving powers to devatas. So Kena Upanishad would say all these powers are coming from Brahman itself. In between started a prakriya, a process, a thinking, a sampradaya, which brought in Ishwar. Brahman itself is Nirgun, Nirakar, Akarta, um, Kutastha, Nityam, Shashwatam, Sarvavyapi, and importantly, it is not a known, it is not knowable, it is not an object of knowledge. Not being an object of knowledge is one of the very important things to give a lakshana of Brahman. That Brahman cannot create anything because it is Ekam. Then where has the Srishti come from? What is this creation? Where have I come from? Why is there a cycle of karma? If even if Veda says I'm born by my karma, then why is there who's controlling this cycle? Is it random, as people ask today? So there are many questions that come up. One of the explanations or one of the propositions or one of the sampradayas that got established since many centuries now is that Brahman having its own Maya, Shakti, its own power. Brahman is all inclusive, it has everything in it. It has its own, it doesn't need anything else. There is no other. For us to conceive this also is impossible because Jiva Bhav cannot understand what is Brahman. Intellectually, it is not possible also. So it's a waste of effort and time, and it's a tamasic way of tamasic pursuit to try and think that I will know Brahman and then I will follow it. Then I will be more available to this knowledge. You cannot know Brahman. So, if anybody who wants to know Brahman intellectually first, best is to move into another direction, another field, spend your time through some other inquiry, which is, or some other pursuit, which will be more beneficial for you. Brahman cannot be known, period. You are Brahman. That's it. No? And it is um, so once creation comes into the context, for whom? For this jiva, how does it come? So this Brahman with Maya Upadhi, Maya Shakti, not Upadhi, Maya Shakti, it has its own Shakti. Through that, Ishvara is the first emergence. एक भाव है, एक विकार, विकार is a wrong word, एक उत्पत्ति है. It is अभिव्यक्त, it's a vyakti, a manifestation. It is vyakta. Avyakta. Vyakta. It is vyakta. Manifest. Even Ishvara is not conceptualizable by us. But in its entirety, it is not. But we are now able to understand. We are able to, our intellect has the property of examining the unknown area. Intellect moves from known to unknown. Our intellect means that capacity to discern, जो विवेक करता है. That intellect can go into unknown realms. So when Ishvara is put forward to us, Shastra includes it. When Ishvara gives us this, using this Ishvara in your karma, that Ishwar, whatever way you do karmas, either you do sakam, you get desire fulfilled, you do nishkam, you get punyam, you get chitta shuddhi, all these layers of different layers of karmas, earnings you get. देने वाला कौन है? वो फल को अभिव्यक्त करने वाला कौन है? उस फल को मैच्योर करने, उस फल को फलित करने वाला कौन है? Who gives that produce? Who gives the result of that karma? Shastra says Ishvara. Who's Ishvara? Non-separate from Brahman, but with Maya Upadhi. Maya is its Upadhi. With the help of Maya Upadhi, this Ishvara then goes through. Now, this is one huge sampradaya. This Ishvara with Maya Upadhi goes through vikar, transformation, and has tanmatras, the subtle elements. Then those elements have grossification, and gradually the world is created. So, what through the world is there? It is nothing but Ishvara and Maya. But now the world has become Vyakrit, expansive. It's got manifestation. There is creation. Who's the creator then? Now Ishvara is the creator. And having created, now rest of it we have done it many times. Having created, as long as the karma phalas have to manifest, so long the srishti has to have sustenance. So you have Ishvara as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Resolution, destructive power, we all know Shiva. And later on, all the other. And through that Panchikaranam process, the subtle elements form our Gyan Chakshus, Antakaranam. The gross elements form our gross body and gross organs. This gross body and gross organs, born of entire Panchikrit grossified elements, when on death of this body, the elements return back to their gross elements, the elements that make the body go back to the elements. The subtle element, the subtle Sukshma Sharir, goes back into its own Karana Sharir, that is of an individual. Individual is called Vyashti Rupa. Vyashti Rupa means from an individual standpoint, from a Jiva standpoint. From this Vyashti has come the Abhivyakti of this Jiva. On death, the elements will go back to elements. My Sukshma Sharir goes back into my Karan Sharir, and that is a Vyashti Karan Sharir. Where is the Vyashti Karan Sharir resting? Ishvara with Maya Upadhi. It rests there only ultimately. Go back, it rests there. What about all of us? That totality view is Samashti. What about the Samashti Roop? That Samashti, the entire gross bodies, through gross elements, all the gross bodies put together, is the Samashti Roop of Ishvara, which is the Virat. When you see all the bodies, that's physical bodies that you see, this is the Virata Roop of Ishvara. Then the subtle element, subtle bodies of everyone, Samashti Sukshma Sharir. The gross bodies are in gross elements, the subtle body, which is called nothing but Sukshma Sharir, subtle Samashti Sukshma Sharir, which is another word for Hiranyagarbha most often, which was the first manifestation from Ishvara. So Samashti Sukshma Sharir is Hiranyagarbha. And where does it resolve back on Pralay? When everybody has to resolve, it goes back into Ishvara with Maya Upadhi. That is its Karan Sharir. Now, that Karan Sharir, which we call in our case as in Vyashti, I said it all goes back into Ishvara also with Maya. That's at the ultimate point. For the Vyashti, we say our Karan Sharir is Avidya. Because as long as Avidya is there, this Janma Janmantar prayatnam for Sukha Prapti and Dukha Nivritti will not end. My search for happiness and avoiding pain, this will not end. Therefore, I am kept in karmas. So, Vyashti, individual, gross body is sustained by my subtle body. Subtle body is sustained by my Karan body, Sharir, Karan Sharir, causal body. That causal body, another word, is Avidya. Now, this one sampradaya who gives this whole chronology, for which Tattva Bodh is one of the Prakriya Granthas for this sampradaya, as much Advaita, that sampradaya, I was going to say something very important. Lost the thought track. What was I saying?
Tattva Bodh is a Prakriya Grantha for this
Prakarna
sampradaya.
Grantha for this particular methodology, and they accept Ishvara as the Karta, means that Sampradaya accepts Ishvara as the creator and the Karma Phaldata. And so, with the help of Ishvara, you gain Sakamata and Nishkamata, done Nishkama, you gain Chitta Shuddhi, Karmas will give you punya, and you can do upasanas for chitta naischalyam. But that whole karma kand portion is not possible without Ishvara, Devatas, and Ishvara. But who gives the power to Devatas? They get their power to grant the boons to everybody in Sakam also from Ishwar. Krishna is going to tell us very soon over here in these verses. Now, this is that. Right, I got it. Um, this is that sampradaya, this Advaita sampradaya who accepts avidya as the causal body of the individual. They say, and please hear carefully, because I'm going to be bringing two different, seemingly different sampradayas that are equally there in present times. And so there's a difference of explanation a little bit. This sampradaya, which has obviously been for many years, centuries now, uh, attribute avidya as the cause of Srishti, Vyashti Srishti, to Shankaracharya. Also, they say Shankaracharya, who is our Advaita Acharya Sampradaya with Sampradaya Grahanam, who has done, held that perception for us. So they say Shankaracharya said, avidya is the cause of Srishti, and this is where I'd gone blank for a moment. This is avidya has Avarna Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. This is more popular Vedanta because it's been sustained for much longer period of time. Uh, 13th, 14th century, it became very, very popular. Uh, it keeps getting contended, but this is the more popular version of what is avidya and its explanation. Avidya has Avarna Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti and Mala. Mala means impurities. Impurities are dealt, Mala is dealt, which is another form of Ragadvesh, is dealt through Karam Yoga. Vikshepa Shakti means that which distracts. Our mind is not ekagra. Our mind is distracted by the senses and by desires. So it doesn't hold itself for a length of time at our chosen point of concentration, focus. So such a mind is vikshepa. It has vikshipt ho jata hai, restless ho jata hai. It becomes restless. That is vikshepa shakti. They say these are three shaktis. Avarna means something that is concealing. It has a concealing power. Avarna means it has a concealing power. What does it conceal? As long as Jiva has avidya, it conceals Atma that is there within all of us. So, what is the purpose of, how do you know Atma then? Through this process of Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata, Vikshepa was dealt with Upasana, Avarna gets dealt with Gyan through Jnana Yoga. When there is knowledge, this Avarna gets destroyed, Avidya then gets destroyed, and Atma reveals itself, shines forth. It is already there. This is common to every Advaitin. Nobody changes. Fortunately, at this point, nobody has a Vivad. Atma is self existent and it is self known. It doesn't diminish by this concealing, it doesn't get uh, altered, nothing happens. Whatever gets done in the realm of avidya, which is now the entire Srishti Chakram. Whatever is dealt in the realm of avidya does not touch this Atma. Therefore, this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam cycle is sustained by avidya, but powered by all our indriyas are powered by Ishvara. The whole gati is powered by Ishvara. Everything is controlled by Ishvara. And gods also get their power from Ishvara. The entire Saptaloka upwards and Saptaloka downwards, 14 lokas that we have, all of them are managed by one controller. Fortunately, here also there is no Vivad. There is only one Ishvara. Ishvara is one. So this is now one sampradaya. Counter contending this sampradaya, people say Shankaracharya never said that there is avarna and vikshepa. If he's ever used avarna word, it is more with viveka shakti. Our viveka shakti gets clouded by, say, even tamas. When tamas rises, certain days we are more dull than the others. You are just not able to think anything. So there is a concealing factor, but that concealing factor is tamasic guna. It is not avidya which conceals. Tamas has a concealing power. So tamas can conceal viveka shakti. And if it conceals viveka shakti, then sometimes I wonder if Bhagwan doesn't want me to say certain things. It's very rare that I go blank, but on all subtle points, I've started going blank. भाई आप चुप हो जाओ मत बोलो क्यों बोलते हो? This, so this other sampradaya says avidya doesn't have these powers. There is avidya, but avidya is only of the nature of avivek. There is no tangible material cause of creation, which is not there. Means there's no tangible cause. No tangible cause. Avidya is not a tangible cause. Avidya is there, accepted, but it is more in the nature of aviveka, non thinking, non discerning. And as long as one does not discern, it is in the form of atasmin tat buddhi, seeing what is not there. Shankara says this in Brahma Sutra Adhyasa Bhashyam. So that avidya is in the form of adhyasa. Adhyasa means seeing what is not there. So according to them, the in-between layer of this Maya and Panchikaranam, this whole vikara that has happened, and that vikara roop is real change, as if, though not in Brahman, but in Ishvara Maya Upadhi has created this Jagat. According to this school, when I said this means my right hand side school would be the one that contains the left hand side school, and that left hand side school is the Avarna Vikshepa Avidya root cause of creation. The right hand side school says, no, that is not so. Avidya is only there as long as there is avichar. Avicharita siddham. It is only siddh. Siddh means accomplished, means it is existent only as long as there is no vichar done by individual. You are not doing atma and atma vichar. You are not doing what is real and unreal examination. You are not sitting and examining where have the thoughts come from and where are they going. You are not thinking. You are just flowing with the impulses. So as you flow and conduct life with your impulses and your ragadvesh, This avidya continues, and as long as you don't see what is to be seen, you are bound to see it as something else. This is a huge point of their contention. What is it? A tasmin tat buddhi. So you will see mirage on dry sand. That's mirage. You will see water there where it doesn't exist. So you are seeing snake there where it is not. You are seeing Jagat where there is not. What is there is only Brahman. But you see Jagat there. Why do you see Jagat there? Because there is avidya. You do not know yourself as Brahman. That is alone is avidya. Not knowing is avidya. And that is enough cause for you to know it as something else. And what do you know it as something else? Is jiva. You are a jiva. And you take tadatmyam with this sharir. You are identified with the body, mind, and your desires. And all desired and operated actions will then have the same flow like anything else. So, this is the important difference. Over here, Ishvara as creation also is not so important. They will only say that creation is Maya Srishti. Maya Srishti means it looks real, but it is not real. And it ends there as much as you don't need more explanation according to it. Means it's not necessary. You can ask. There would be probably some acharyas who would have more answers than that, but it's not relevant. Focus, learn what is Atma, what is Anatma, do the discernment, and know yourself as Atma, and the samsara ends. Samsara ends both schools. Now, here, why I'm bringing all this? A, Ishvara is important for Shastra, um, for Chitta, for any growth. As one who's teaching this subject at the moment, I want us to be very clear from which standpoint we are saying what. This Ishvara, which has got included in Karam Yoga also, that Ishwar here, Shankara also gave us the meaning, is Bhagavan. And he is here the teacher who's telling Arjun that whole portion of clarity comes through Madhusudan Saraswati ji's Bhashyam. Madhusudan Saraswati was a great Krishna Bhakt, and also, from how I'm reading it and understanding it, also seems to be the follower of this left hand side school. Which is my left hand side school, in case you've missed it? My left hand side school is one which accepts avidya with avarna and vikshepa shakti. But through the bhashyam, therefore, in other words, a lot of right side school will not, because Ishwar is not so important, so a lot of this gets missed out. And Shankara himself in his Gita Bhashyam has only touched one word. Very small bhashyams he has written for these verses. So there is no importance given to them at all from Shankara's standpoint. But Madhusudan Saraswati goes into a little bit of this Ishwaratvam. And honestly, certain parts of his bhashyam can be very, very helpful to understand as long as we know which side of the point we are dealing with. So far, am I okay with, to everyone? Is there any doubt, question so far? Because once we start the bhashyam, things obviously will get more clearer. But so far, is there a confusion or question?
No, Diptiji, very clear.
Clear? Okay, great. Everybody, I presume Neetuji is representing everyone.
That's a bit of a tall order.
Is it? Then I ought to be repeating. Okay, chalo,
No,
Akanksha
we
says
would,
here.
but for the others, I wouldn't.
Okay, please repeat the right hand side of the school. The right hand side of the school says, I'm repeating the right side of the school. The right hand side of the school is modern, is not actually a modern contention, but it has got revived. I use the word revive in tradition. As Krishna himself has told us, this knowledge keeps getting overpowered by sensory things, and it keeps getting lost in between, and then it gets revived again. We are very, very fortunate in a way that we are in the time where the other school has got revived also, which is a school which negates avidya with avarna and vikshepa. Avidya is no such thing, and creation is not a tangible, real creation. It is only adhyasa which is the cause. Avidya is also not so important. Adhyas is the cause, and the definition of adhyas is atasmin tad buddhi, which means when you are missing seeing what is as is, you project it automatically to see it as something else. So, our examples of, say, Banerjee not recognized as Banerjee, you mistake him as Chatterjee, etc. Those things, like a pole, you mistake it as a person, a ghost, you see it. So those kind of things, on a floor where there's a crack, you suddenly say there's a snake, which happens to all of us all the time, actually. In clouds, you say, oh, there is a Gandharva Nagari. I mean, you are able, the mind projects, in other words. Another thing which is completely different in quality and everything, quality and in quality, it is completely different from what is. So Brahman is, that is your true nature. Not knowing yourself as Brahman, you are seeing yourself as this limited entity Jiva, who is now got adhyasa in the form of deho ham, I am a body. That is the adhyasa that we carry in identification with the body. So that is now the right school. So Avarna is not at all not there. In fact, Avidya does not have this. Avidya is only of the nature of non thinking. That is it. So if you are able to discern Atma and Anatma, then you are able to own up. Avidya gets destroyed, and there is Atma Vidya. And how do you do Atma and Atma? There are all these prakriyas that Upanishads talk of. Like Mandukya will talk about the Avasthatraya Prakriya. Uh, Chandogya, of course, talks about the Mahavakya itself, etc. All these Upanishads that talk about various prakriyas. Drigdrishya is one of them, but though Drigdrishya teacher is also from the left hand side school of thing. So far, that much. Because now in this portion, you will get certain extra. I think it should, if all flows well. We'll need Ishvara Anugraha for it. But let's see. Let me do the Bhashyam first, once again, so that we see the difference and pick up what is relevant to be picked up. In the first verses, we know Arjun has asked up to first three verses, Krishna said, I gave it to Surya, and that parampara he establishes, and then he says, I have given it to you. Now, this statement of Krishna, from the standpoint of Krishna, he only said it as stuti now, having completed my teaching. I hope it's okay, Bhavna. Um, Having completed the teaching, Krishna only gave it as a phala stuti. The topic is over. So, Sampradaya, Namaskar, that Sampradaya, I only started by giving. No. I'm sorry, I'm taking a question in between. I'll come back to what I was saying. Avidya has nothing to do with adhyas. Nahi. Avidya is in the form of adhyas. There is no separate avidya. Avidya's nature is adhyas. Adhyas is the nature of avidya, which is non discernment. So, adhyas means out of non discernment, I am seeing something else, mistaking one for the other. misapprehending. Non-apprehension creates misapprehension. That misapprehension is adhyas, which is bound to be there wherever there is non-apprehension. Okay. So, so Arjun had asked, and that is where the whole portion of this is coming up. Arjun said, Brahma, I have confusion. How can you give it to Surya Bhagwan? You were born Arvak, Aparam, later than Surya, Arvak, now, present time, Vasudeva Grihe. In Vasudev's home, you have taken Janma, you have taken birth. Purvam, Sargadav, at the beginning of creation, very beginning. Purva means Sargadav. You can imagine when the creation started. Now we are almost in Dwapar Yuga ending, when Arjuna and Krishna were there. Beginning of Satyuga, and which particular manvantra, even before that, the first manvantra, etc. There you gave it to Surya Bhagwan. Now, how am I to know this? Tat katham etat vijaniyam. How will I know this? Aviruddharthataya. Avirud means without any contradiction. Tell me, how did you give it then and you are giving it now? And that statement, this question of Arjun, is very beautifully elaborated in Madhusudanji's Bhashyam. But before that, we'll do Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. He only says, before Bhagwan starts to answer this, Shankaracharya writes, Ya Vasudeve Anishwara Asarvagnya Ashanka. With reference to Vasudev, Krishna, those who will have the doubt of him being Anishwar, not Ishwar, and Asarvagnya, not all knower, not omniscient. Those people, they are murkhas, non thinking. For their Shanka to be resolved, Tam Pariharan, Unki, Tam means Unki, there. कौन? मूर्खों की. वो मूर्ख कौन है? जो वासुदेव को अनीश्वर और असर्वज्ञ जानते हैं. अनीश्वर means he is not ईश्वर. असर्वज्ञ means he is not omniscient. Those fools, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Yat Artham. For the sake of removal of those doubts, Bhagwan is answering Arjunasya prashnaha. He is answering Arjuna's question. What is Bhagwan answered? We have seen it, so I'll just move to the Bhashyam straight. Bahuni me mama vyatitani atikrantani. Bahuni, many. Me, my. Vyatitani atikrantani, crossed over. What? Janmani, many births of mine. Tavacha, yours also. Hey Arjuna, we have crossed many births, you and I. Tani, all that has happened. Yours and mine. And all these rajas he said before also. Everyone's. Aham Veda Jane Sarvani. I know all my births. Sarvani, entirely, all everybody's. Natvam Vetha. But you do not know. Na janishe. You do not know. Ha. Madhyam. Na janishe. You do not know. What? Dharma Adharma adi prati. Why do you not know? Because your Shakti to know is bound by, baddha, is bound by dharma, adharma, adi, by punya and pap, which has brought about your upadhi. So your upadhi has a limitation to know. In this present janma of yours, you have acquired this janma because of dharma and adharma, punya and papa phalam. With this upadhi, you cannot know what you did in another upadhi. You do not remember them. Your upadhi has a limitation. But the jnana shaktitvat, that knowledge is bound. Pratibadha jnana shaktitvat. Because this jnana shakti, due to this jnana shakti being bound by dharma and adharma, by punya and pap. So na janishe. You do not know. But aham, me, punaha, again, means contrasting it to you. Your birth is through dharma, adharma, adi. But me, my birth, nitya shuddha buddha mukta swabhavatvat. I am the one whose swabhav remains nitya shuddha. First, nitya, take it separate. Shuddha, separate. Buddha, separate. Mukta, separate. All of them swabhav. Nitya swabhav, shuddha swabhav, buddha swabhav, mukta swabhav. Or nitya shuddha swabhav, nitya buddha swabhav, nitya mukta swabhav, whichever way you take it. Idea is I remain free. Here, nitya means eternal, ever, without any change. Nitya means that which hasn't undergone any transformation, any change at all. With every birth, there is no change in me. Shuddha, I remain my immaculate, pure self. There is no taint in me. There is no mala in me. There is no impurity I acquire. There is no other I acquire. Shuddha. Buddha, ever knowing. Mukta, ever free. My upadhi remains as is, as Ishvara's upadhi. Ishvara's upadhi with Maya Shakti is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhav. Remaining that, therefore, what happens? Anavarana Jnana Shakti. My Jnana Shakti, Anavarana. On my Jnana Shakti, there is no Avarna. It's not hidden. It's not concealed. It's not diminished. It's not limited by the upadhi because my upadhi is limitless and it is pure. It's immaculate. It is ever there. It is untainted. In my upadhi, there is no division. There is no nothing. In my upadhi, it is, which is Maya upadhi, but I am by swabhav. Important is not upadhi. Important is my swabhav remains because my swabhav remains as Shuddha Buddha Mukta because of that, because my swabhav remains this, my Jnana Shakti does not take avarana. Iti, in this manner, Veda Aham, I know. He Parantapa. This much is Shankara's Bhashyam in this verse. Then for the sixth verse he says, Katham tarhi tava, then how? Tava, you, your, Nitya Ishwarasya, you that is always ever remaining Ishwara. Dharma adharma abhave api, in the absence of dharma and adharma also. Janma iti, you remaining Nitya Ishvara. In other words, question is, you remaining Nitya Ishvara who has Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavat, that is Ishvara, you remaining Ishvara, how is your Janma possible in the absence of any karma phala? Because what we know is that Janma happens because of karma phal. कर्म फल को भोगने के लिए जन्म है, उपाधि मिलती है, उपाधि में आते हैं, उपाधि लेते हैं, whatever words you want to use, whichever perception drives home to your understanding. I take on an upadhi for the fulfillment of my karma bhog, but you remaining Ishvara has no punya pap, you are Nitya Shuddha Buddha. How has your janma happened? How can you be now here? How did you take this in front of me? Who are you? You are a bhautik sharir. Mujhe to, he can touch Krishna, no? He's going to listen to Krishna. That means Krishna is talking. In front of him, he's taking advice from Krishna. Krishna has been their cousin and friend for forever, since childhood. They have spent holidays together, done a lot of masti, I'm sure. You know, a lot of these. तुम मेरे सामने खड़े हो, ये शरीर क्या है फिर? What is this that I'm seeing? How are you born? If you don't have punya, pap. In other words, this is where they say avatara rahasya starts. In this question, now what Krishna is answering in the 6th verse, how does an Ishvara come into manifestation? So Ishvara said, I think I should take the next verse also, Bhashyam first, so that your mind is clear on the Bhashyams first, and then we'll do the Madhusudan Saraswati. As much as I can do. Ajaha api, Bhagwan said, this also we did, so quickly go through. Ajaha api, unborn. Jaha, jaha means born. Jaha, who's not born. Shankara says, janma rahitaha, जो जन्म से रहित है, free of janma. Api san, रहते हुए. How do you explain that? जिसका जन्म से free है, जो रहते हुए, api san, who remains free of janma. Tatha also, avyaya atma, he remains avyaya, changeless. There is no change that happens in the process of birth. Also, akshina jnana shakti swabhavaha, whose jnana shakti has remained undeclined, is not destroyed. Akshina, itni bhi nahi avyaya hui. Avyaya jnana shakti. By his own self, his jnana shakti has also not changed this much. He remains changeless, and so the jnana shakti is akshina, which will never decline, which cannot have a decline, which cannot deteriorate. That jnana shakti, swabhav, rehte hue, api san, you remain that. Tatha, also, excuse me, bhutanam, all the beings. Who all the beings? All the beings in creation. Who all is in creation? Brahma onwards. Brahmaji is also created. He has his own world. Means this whole world's Lord, we say, creator is Brahmaji. Brahmaji is also creation. Adi, beginning from Brahmaji. Stamba, as I said, smallest, minutest, which are not visible to our eyes. Microorganisms, smallest life form. आदि स्तंभ पर्यंतानाम, उन लोगों का ईश्वरः, you remain ईश्वरः for all these beings. Who is that ईश्वरः? ईशनशीलः, Ishan means the one who controls, one of the nature of control, who does regulation, who does shasan. Who does shasan? Shasan, what is the English word for shasan? Rules. Who rules? But that doesn't. Shasan. Who does shasan over all beings? Apisan. Maintaining that. So three things. Ajaha, Avyaya. Ajaha means free of Janmarahit. Avyaya means Akshina Jnana Shakti also. And Bhutanam Ishwaraha, Lord of all beings. रहते हुए Swam Prakritim, by my own Prakriti. Ruler is the right word. By my own Prakriti. What is that Prakriti? My own Mama Vaishnavim, belonging to me, Vishnu. My own Prakriti, belonging to me, Ishvara, which means Maya. Mayam, that Maya Prakriti, which belongs to me. Of what nature? Trigunatmika, of the three gunas. Yasyaha vashe sarvam jagat vartate. In whose control this entire jagat comes under its control, comes under the control of Trigunatmika Maya. But that jagat who comes under the control of this Trigunatmika, Yaya Mohitam Jagat, which by which the Jagat gets mohit. What do you get mohit with? Trigunatmikas. So Sattva, Rajas and Tamas deludes us, mohit karta hai. So what we have attraction for the objects, what we have aversion for the objects, here you have Guna Guneshu Vartante, the Jnani knows. But the Agyani is attracted to them, averse to them, moves for them, moves away from them, mohit hai unse. The entire Jagat. Jagat Sat Swam Atmanam Vasudevam Na Janati. The entire Jagat, having deluded Swam Atmanam, their own self, as Vasudevam Na Janati. They don't know themselves as Vasudev. They are deluded by the Prakriti. Tam Prakritim, that Prakritim. Swam Adhisthaya, by my own self, Adhisthaya, Adhishthan karke, Vashikritya, I control my own Maya. By the control of that Maya, by my own self, Sambhavami, that's the right word for creation. Sambhavami, I come. Dehavan iva, and that is to be marked subtly, very subtle, very easily missed. Dehavan iva, like the one who seems to have a body. Iva bhavami, I come into jataha, I'm born. I come into being, bhavami, by my own self, wielding my own prakriti, which is made up of three gunas. I control my three gunas. I am not deluded by them. Controlling that three gunas, I appear seeming to have a body. I'm born seeming to have a body, like everyone, as per his whatever he thinks is the needed body for whatever his work is. Iva, Atma Mayaya, by my own Atma. Jatah Iva. So there are two Ivas. Dehavan Iva and there is Jatah Iva. as if I'm born, like I'm born. Iva means like. Jataha means birth, जन्म होना. जैसे हमारा जन्म हुआ है, हम कहते हैं हमारा जन्म इस तारीख को, इस साल को, इतने इतने टाइम को हुआ है, based on which we have our horoscopes and they predict our life also. Everything happens. Jatah. He says, wielding my own maya, I appear to have a deha as if I'm born. Atma maya, by my own self. Atmanaha maya, having my own maya, I'm born by my own self. Na paramarthataha, not paramarthically am I born. Lokavat, how the world gets born. Like the world. How is the world born? The world na lokavat, not like the world. How is the world born? We are born because of dharma dharma adi, punya papa karma phal. We take an upadhi. We are deluded by the prakriti, and being deluded by the prakriti, we do our own karmas and we succumb to maya. That's called deluded by prakriti. Therefore, lokavat, like the world who is born because of their dharma adharma adi, I don't need dharma adharma to be born. I am born by my own maya, controlling my own maya and never deluded by it. Then the question comes now, tatcha janma, that janma, eva that you have said, that janma, kada, when, kimartham, for what purpose, chayati. If someone is asking that question, that is next verse, yada yada hi dharmasya. So that janma of yours, why in the first place do you need to take? Anyway, it is not real janma. It is maika janma. It is like a janma. You have a body like a body, but it is not a real body. So if it is all this is, then why are you taking a birth in the first place? Why is there a birth? Why do you appear? For what purpose? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi bhavati. Whenever dharma declines, is reduced in number, O Bharata, abhyuthanam adharmasya, and adharma rises, tada, then atmanam srijami aham, I come by my own self, by my own maya. I appear by my own maya to set the order again, to manage the dharma. And here also look, only hardly a word Shankara gives. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi, there is no meaning. Glani means hani. Hani means destruction. Destruction of what? How does dharma get destroyed? Varna ashram adi lakshanasya. When the dharma which is characterized by varna and ashrama, see, when you start studying, these are the questions that start. What is the adi pad here would indicate? Varna ashram adi. Other than varna ashram, what is there? Varna ashram adi. Lakshanasya. What is characterized by your duties that are to be done from varna and ashram. Praninam abhyudaya nishreyasa sadhanasya bhavati. Those varna ashrama karmas are for the sake of all pranis. Those varna ashrama karmas is the method of gaining sadhana, is the sadhan of gaining abhyudaya and nishreyas, both of gaining prosperity or conveniences, desire fulfillment. Abhyudaya can add, mean anything. Nishreyas, moksha. The same Varnashram Adi Lakshanas, karmas are Abhyudaya Dadati, means they give Abhyudayam. Nishrayasam, also the same sadhana. How? When you do your Varnashram Adi karmas with Sakamata, you get Abhyudaya. When you do it Nishkam, you get Nishrayas. Ultimately. Bhavati Abhyuthanam Udbhavaha, increase. Adharmasya, adharm ka. When there is an increase of adharma, tada tada, then. Very interesting. Whenever there are words yada yada, then you will also have tada tada. If you have yada, you will have tada. When, then. Like in English, you have when, then. Yada yada, when it's repeated twice, then it has a particular meaning. It means whenever. There is no limit to time then. That's called vipsa. Whenever. Then ever, if that's the right way to say it. Whenever means in any time, in any yuga, in anywhere, in any place, anywhere, anytime. Whenever there will be a decline of dharma and a rise in adharma, tada, then ever, I will come, srajami aham, by my own maya. I will come to reset the order, put the reset button. So many times we have to do that on our telephones and and all our things that we seem to be controlling. Wherever we are the controller, many times you have to put the reset button. I need to bring it to default again for me to restart again. That's what he says. And then for what purpose he had said, that is kimartham. That second part of the question was left. Kada, he has said. Kimartham was left. Kimartham, you are born. Then kada, he said when, whenever. Condition is in time. Whenever there'll be a decline of dharma and a rise of adharma, tada, then I will come. Kimartham, for what purpose will you come? ये तो हमने कह दिया कि to reset, but Bhagwan has to say why will he come? He says, Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya means parirakshanaya. To give protection, raksha करने के लिए. To protect. Who? Sadhu. To protect the sadhu. And who's sadhu? And that is why Bhashyakar is out of the world. He is an avatar in himself. Simple words, he conveys the maximum. Who's a sadhu? No confusion here afterwards. Whether he's wearing ochre clothes, whether he's become a sannyasi, whether he's taken a living as an ascetic, all those Bhajagovindam verses you can bring. Who's a sadhu? Sanmargasthanam. Who's on the Satmarg? Sanmarg means Satmarg. Who's following the Sat? Who's on Satmarg? Satmarg means the path of Sat. The path of Sat means the path of righteous. The path of righteous means the path of Dharma. Sadhu kaun hai? Who lives a life of Dharma. Wahi sadhu hai. Even if you're, in other words, supposing by profession somebody is in the fashion industry and is completely into the world of fashion, but externally appearing like an absolute modern, what are they called? Whatever you call it, doesn't matter. You understand. But inside lives a life of righteousness. Satmarg follows the righteousness. ईश्वर अर्पणम करते हैं, प्रसाद बुद्धि रखते हैं, lives a dharmic life. वही साधु है. Who tries to gain connection with Ishvara, who tries to gain connection through knowledge, understand what is self, either way. Those sanmargasthanam, that is one part of my kimartham. What will prevent them from following their satmarg? Why should they need protection? Because satmarg ko follow karne ke liye, there are always difficulties and obstacles from external world. Who? Those who are into the realm of senses and desires, They will create some kind of a disturbance out of their ahankar or out of their ragadvesh. They keep putting some interjection into the path of righteousness. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. For those who are disturbing these sadhus, who are चुपचाप से अपना लगे हुए हैं, सतमार्ग को follow करते हैं, they are not even interested in moksha or not, they may or may not be, but अपना सत जीवन जी रहे हैं और उनको परेशान करते हैं. Those who get disturbed, those who are disturbing such people, they are dushkritam. Dushkritam means durkritam. They do wrong things. ये सत मार्ग पे चलते हैं, वो दुख मार्ग पे चलते हैं. They are going in a wrong direction and they are doing wrong things to them. Who are they? Papakarinam. They are ones who are doing only papam. Shastra vidhi, Shastra drishti, their karma phal will only be papam. That's their earning papam by hurting those who are sadhus. Kincha, moreover. So these are two things: for the protection of those who are sadhus and the destruction of those who are disturbing the life of the sadhus. Dekha, that is why it's such a wise thing to remain a sadhu. Inward. Correct. They face obstacles. So he says, I am actually interested in protecting the sadhu. Why? If anybody follows the thought flow today, I am interested in protecting the sadhu because the sadhu is protecting dharma. He is living a dharmic life. He protects dharma. Therefore, I protect the sadhu because Bhagwan can't himself do dharma samsthapanartham. What does dharma samsthapanartham mean? That is his next point. For the sake of reinstating dharma. Reinstating dharma means they are not ambiguous terms. They are not hawa mein floating some words. Dharma will be re-established. Dharma gets re-established when dharmic people do not face obstacles in the pursuit of their life of dharma. Those who follow dharma, if they can remain following dharma, they are enthusiastic, they are ready to follow dharma, they want to follow dharma, they want to uphold the Vaidika dharma, they want to uphold what Ishvara has set in order, they want to live a life paced righteously. But preventing them, those who do not let them live that life, Bhagwan says, if I protect these dharmic people, I am protecting dharma. And dharma is his main reason, because based on dharma, creation will hold. Therefore, for the sake of dharma samsthapanarthaya, which means dharmasya dharamka samyak sthapanam. Samyak sthapanam means re-establish it. For many years and centuries now, dharma will again remain. And then again it will get declined. Again he says, yada yada that happens, tada tada I will come. Dharma samsthapanartham. Samsthapanam tadartham. For that reason, sambhavami, I come. Yuge yuge means prati yugam. Again and again, in every yugam, whenever needed, I will come as per the requirement of protection of those people who follow dharma, and they are the ones who, when they follow dharma, they uphold my dharma. Therefore, Bhagwan by himself cannot establish order here. His means to establish order is only when people follow order. Increase in people following order is increasing dharma sthapanam on the planet. Decrease of people following dharma is increase of adharma. So yuge yuge, whenever this will happen, I will come, he says, for the protection of those sadhus. So the wisest thing for any seeker is at least not deviate from the path, because you can be assured that even if you have been, what is the right word? Even if you're exploited, and even if, that's why in stories you would find those dharmic people even if it meant death. And Krishna tells Arjun, if your Swadharma requires you to act, and even in the pursuit of your Swadharma, if you are getting killed, even that is better for you because you are upholding Dharma. And whoever upholds Dharma, you fall in my order of protection. I protect you from, I protect you. Baat khatam. Okay, that is our ninth verse onwards is slightly different. We will consolidate this now from Madhusudan Saraswati's Bhashyam, where this discussion is going to be elaborate. Now, this is Shankara, so precise, so refined, so to the point. You don't need much than this. But we will still do that because over there in this school of thought, their standpoint is very clearly explained, and which is important today, I think, as students, where this right side school is also taking prominence in society. As one who teaches this at the point, studies and teaches this, I'd rather keep this clear for whoever's listening. How much you follow, I'm not sure, but you will follow. Definitely, when you ever you hear the other point, all this will strike because it's there now available by Anugraha. But it's left to individuals' discernment, your own maturity of seeing the truth of which is Bhagwan's Anugraha. Ultimately, it comes through a lot of manana. But at least information will be there. So we will do the next because only over there do you get a clear idea about Ishvara completely. I would think doubtless here afterwards will be there in Madhusudan Saraswati's commentary. So we'll take that next time. I'm crossing my fingers that we can retain the spirit. 1 week is a long gap. But for you or not, I don't know. For me, definitely I'm talking 1 week. So much happens in between. I'm hoping that we will be able to continue from here. Fifth verse of, I think so. I'll just recheck. Okay, we can conclude the class. Neetuji, can you please chant?
Yes. सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषा, गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम्, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः, पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी, देशोऽयं शोभरहितः, ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
See today's last line. Brahmanaha santu nirbhayaha.
Brahmana santu brahmana.
Brahmins?
Brahman.
No, you were
Say-
right. I was just
Okay.
giving that extra. You were right. I was giving the point of protection, where Ishvara says that I will protect all those who follow the righteous path. So when he says, so in this Shanti mantra, the last line, Brahmana Santu, may the Brahmins remain fearless, Nirbhaya, means those who pursue the Sat mark May they remain fearless in it. Means let adharma not create
Yes,
fear.
many times we chant mantras without really knowing the meaning correctly.
Yeah. So no,
And
and
as we
sometimes
get,
in context the meaning gets even more clearer.
yes,
Even if we
yes,
know them,
yes,
it comes into the context.
yes.
Okay. So
Dhanyavad, Diptiji. Thank you so
Dhanyavad.
much.
Thank you so
Recording
much.
stopped.
Hari Om, everyone. We will. Thank you. Yes, Kanksha has a question. Explain how this happens through Gyan again. How are Avana and Vikshepa destroyed? Vikshepa is destroyed through Upasana. Avarna is destroyed through Gyan. And Gyan is Atmanatma, Viveka. But to follow that Viveka, you need knowledge, and that knowledge is different prakriyas of, say, Neti Neti, which fall into anatma, or actually better prakriya is adhyaropa apavad. So understanding what is shastra kalpitam, arriving at the point that shastra helps us to arrive at, and then doing apavad of it, which bottom line always is it is Brahman. So you arrive through the help of the prakriya to the point they are saying that the nature of this is Brahman and it does not have these qualities. So you start negating those things, and that is how you establish in Atma Jnana. Okay. All right. Akanksha. Okay, maybe she's not. All right. Hari Om, everyone. See you next time. All right. Hari Om, everyone.